Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare
Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama
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 Hare
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 Hare Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna
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 Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare
Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Prabhuji, Hare
Dandavats.
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats Prabhuji.
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji, Sadhu Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats Mataji. Prabhuji, can
Prabhuji,
you make me
yeah,
co-host?
Hello.
yes, Prabhuji, just a
Hello,
minute.
Bhagya. ಹೇಳಿ
Hare
ನಮಸ್ತೆ.
Hare
ಅದೇ
Krishna.
ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ಯಾಂಪಲ್
ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಯೋರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್.
Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the Mangala Charan prayers. Just give me 1 minute. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudire Nashtapraeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त श्रीराधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी श्रीराधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, welcome you all to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam as part of the Bhakti Vaibhav Fast Track course. So tomorrow is a very, very special day. Tomorrow is the appearance day of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So we request you all and invite you kindly to attend the programs arranged on ISKCON Mangalore platform. So let's proceed. So the chapter which is currently under discussion is very, very special. It is chapter 15th from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, where we see different traits of a devotee's life, especially the life of such pure devotees like Pandava, how they cope up with the greatest crisis one can imagine for a devotee, especially for a devotees like Pandavas, who were so much accustomed to having a close association of Lord Krishna as their cousin, friend, family member through thick and thin. And these devotees, Pandavas, who have constantly been under the protection and guidance of Lord Krishna right from the beginning of their life, how they cope up in their life after Lord Krishna's departure from this material world. So in the previous chapter, as a background to this particular point, we see Arjuna has gone to Dwarka and to check on the well-being, to meet his dear friend Krishna, and so he's not back for a considerable period of time, close to 7 months. He has been away, and Yudhishthir Maharaj, he is such a exemplary personality that what we call as a sixth sense, that through his sixth sense and the various omens, bad omens that he sees around, Yudhishthir Maharaj does get an inkling that is there anything wrong? Probably the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has been our constant companion and guide and protector, has left. So though his intelligence points him to this particular fact, his heart is not ready to agree. And then when Arjuna is back, he sees Arjuna's pitiable condition, that he is completely drenched in tears and with clothes, and he is disheveled and completely in disarray, bad shape. And Yudhishthir Maharaj makes so many inquiries to Arjun, that is it that, my dear brother, you were not able to follow the Kshatriya dharma at any point in time? Or is it that somebody was in need, but you couldn't render timely help? Or is it that you could not give proper donation based on time, place, and circumstances? Did you fall short in performing any of your duties as per the Varnashram, that you are looking so dejected? And finally, Yudhishthir Maharaj mentions the worst fear of his heart, that, or is it that, my dear brother, that the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose shelter and protection we have been accustomed to live all through our life, that Supreme Personality of Godhead has concluded his pastimes? And Arjuna is not able to speak a word, he's simply crying. And then at the beginning of this particular chapter, we see Arjuna's separation, feelings of separation from Lord Krishna, and he recollects so many favors that were done, that were meted out to Pandavas by the empowerment given by Krishna, including Arjuna recollects how even the great devatas like Indra, etc., he was able to defeat in battle, and he was able to please great devatas like Lord Shiva by the might and the strength and by the Gandiva bow, by the mercy of Lord Krishna. And then subsequently, Arjuna also recollects. So this particular chapter gives us different traits of a devotee's mood. A devotee never ever feels that I have served my spiritual master and Lord Krishna enough in my life. The devotee naturally has a feeling or disposition within his heart that I could have done so much. I had received so many opportunities to serve my spiritual master, to serve the devotees, to serve the Lord so many times in my life. But because of my attachment to the material enjoyment, because of the false attachment to this world, I missed and skipped so many of those opportunities which were available. So Arjuna, being a great devotee of the Lord, he laments that while Krishna was living with us, I considered him as my friend, and how sometimes friend jokingly they reproach each other, like in the previous verse, text 16, Arjuna says that I allowed him to drive my chariot, become a charioteer, and sometimes I would lovingly reproach him that I know how great you are. Like sometimes within friends we have that friendly banter, and I considered him as my contemporary, as my friend, but now I realize what big mistake I have done. And we can understand that while Arjuna is saying that, definitely he is not at fault, because eternally he is bonded with the Lord in a very intimate relationship as his Sakha, as his eternal friend. Not only that, Arjuna is not an ordinary personality. In Lord Krishna's incarnation as Naranarayan Rishi, Nara is Arjuna himself. So he's definitely an empowered personality, not a ordinary person. But we can understand the purity and humility of his heart, how despite rendering so many services for the pleasure of Krishna, fighting the battle of Kurukshetra to please Krishna, still such a devotee feels that he did not leverage upon, did not utilize all those opportunities to serve Lord Krishna properly while Krishna was still with Pandavas. So with this as the background, we will start with our text today. Any devotees have any question on the background or any of the points that we mentioned? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna. All right. So,
No, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
No, Prabhuji.
So let's please try to recite the verse, text 18. Narmani udara ruchira smita shobhitani
Narmani
Narmani udara ruchira smita shobhitani.
He
Can we and
Partha,
big
he
with bigger, Prabhuji?
bigger.
It's
Okay.
very small.
Okay, fine. 1 second. Let's open it here. Yeah. Is this okay, Mataji?
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Okay.
Prabhuji.
नर्माणि उदार रुचिर स्मित शोभितानि
नर्माणि उदाररुचिरस्मितशोभितानि
हे पार्थ हे अर्जुन सखे कुरु नन्दनेति
हे पार्थ हे अर्जुन सखे कुरु नन्दनेति
सञ्जल्पितानि नरदेवहृदि स्पृशानि
सञ्जल्पितानि नरदेव हृदि स्पृशानि
स्मर्तुर्लुठन्ति हृदयं मम माधवस्य
स्मर्तुर्लुठन्ति हृदयं मम माधवस्य.
Those devotees, Prabhuji's Matajis, who want to read through, you can raise your hands and I would request devotees one by one. Hare Krishna. So, Prema Priya, just 1 second before Hare Krishna. Jyoti Gupta Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Translation.
Okay, translation. O King. This one, no, Prabhuji? O King.
Yes, yes.
His jokings and frank talks were pleasing and beautifully decorated with smiles. His addresses unto me as O son of Pritha, O friend, O son of Kuru dynasty, and all such heartiness are now remembered by me, and thus I am overwhelmed. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So in this particular verse, we see how Krishna, because of his friendship, contemporary friendship with Arjun, he also used to reciprocate with Arjuna in a very, very friendly manner, like, O son of Prutha. So Prutha was Kunti Devi, Lord Krishna's aunt. So, O son of Prutha, O friend, O son of the Kuru dynasty. And Arjuna is basically lamenting that how, while Krishna, out of his great affection for his devotee, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna. So Krishna, out of his affection for his devotee, used to refer to them in such friendly manner. But Arjuna, although he is a devotee in Sakhyaras, as a contemporary friend of Lord Krishna, there are various categories even within all these rasas, and specifically Arjuna's Sakhyaras also has some portion or some amount of Aishwarya Bhav, some amount of feeling of reverence towards the Supreme Lord. So we see other friends of Lord Krishna, like for example the Gopasakhas in Vrajabhumi, Vrindavan, they are also related to Lord Krishna in the mood of friendship, in the mood of being a contemporary. But their affection towards the Lord as a friend is not mixed with any feeling of reverence. But here we do see Arjuna, he is basically lamenting that fact that while Krishna considered me as a friend, I also in turn happen to consider Krishna as my equal, as somebody contemporary, not really understanding his position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And remembering all these sweet exchanges of friendship and love with Lord Krishna, Arjuna is feeling Lord Krishna's separation all the more, and he is overwhelmed with his feelings of separation. So we proceed, text 19. Let me शय्यासनाटन विकत्तन भोजनादि त्वैक्याद्वयस्य ऋतवानिति विप्रलब्धः सख्यु सखेव पितृवत्तनयस्य सर्वं सेहे महान् महितया कुमतेरघं मे
सर्वं श्रीमहानुभावाय मे
Prema Priya Jai Shri Mataji, Hare Krishna. Prema Priya Mataji, you can unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Ma'am.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Generally, both of us used to live together and sleep, sit, and loiter together. And at the time of advertising oneself for acts of chivalry, sometimes, if there were any irregularity, I used to reproach him by saying, "My friend, you are very truthful." Even in those hours when his value was minimized, he, being the supreme soul, used to tolerate all those utterings of mine, excusing me exactly as a true friend excuses his true friend, or a father excuses his son. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, highlighted part of the
Yes,
purpose.
yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Since the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is all perfect, his transcendental pastimes with his pure devotees never lack anything in any respect, either as a friend, son, or lover. The Lord relishes the reproaches of friends, parents, or fiancés more than the Vedic hymns offered to him by great learned scholars and religionists in an official fashion.
Thank you.
Hare
So
Krishna.
we see here different levels of devotees based on their intimate connection with the Lord, either in the form of his contemporary friend or somebody superior to Lord Krishna, like his parents, like Yashoda Mai, Nanda Maharaj, Rohini, Mata, etc. Or even more intimately connected with the Lords, like the damsels of the Vrajabhumi. They all reciprocate with the Lord not as the supreme personality of Godhead, but as a beloved friend or as their beloved child or as their conjugal lover in relationship with them. So we see Arjuna here specifically mentioning that sometimes there was a friendly banter between Arjuna and Supreme Lord, and Arjuna used to apparently minimize the importance of Lord Krishna by saying, "I know how truthful you are." That means sometimes we use we are a bit sarcastic sometimes in pulling the leg of a friend, that I know how clever you are. That means we mean to say that Hare Krishna. Prabhuji's Mataji, those who are not speaking can please go on mute so that everybody is not disturbed. Yeah. So sometimes we are, in a playful manner, we use sarcasm with our friends that I know how good you are. That means we intend to say that I know you are not good at it, but we can have that liberty to pull leg of our contemporaries or our friends. However, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Mohandas Prabhu, can you make few more devotees co-host, and so that they can help mute if there is
Sure,
any.
sure,
Please.
Hare
Hare
sure,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
So Arjuna is remembering that sometimes I used to be very casual. I used to be, I used to be sarcastic in speaking with you, thus minimizing your position. But now that the same Lord has left this world, Arjuna is lamenting all these dealings. And we can clearly understand that it is not an offense taken by Lord Krishna, because he did have that kind of intimate relationship with his dear devotees and he used to enjoy. Srimad Bhagavatam mentions that Lord enjoys the reproachments from such devotees who are intimately connected with him, either in friendship or in parental affection or in conjugal love. Lord Krishna reciprocates and relishes that reproachment much more than the hymns sung by various learned Brahmanas from the Vedic literatures. So these reproaches means a devotee sometimes pulling Lord Krishna's, like a devotee sometimes being very angry with Krishna and scolding him. Like there is a pastime which comes in Krishna book in Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is mentioned how one time Krishna and Balaram, they were playing with their cowherd friends, and there was a delay in their returning home by the lunch time. And when Mother Rohini, she came to the place where the cowherd boys were playing with Krishna and Balaram, she asked Krishna and Balaram that please come home. Your father, mother, and everyone is waiting for you to have your food. And Krishna and Balaram readily agreed and were about to leave. But just then the coward boys, they said that if you leave the play halfway through, next time we will not take you along with us while playing. And Krishna and Balaram decided not to go with Mother Rohini and continue their playful activities. And when Mother Rohini, she returned home, and Yashodamai saw that Krishna and Balaram did not come home with her, she became very upset and angry, and she did go herself go to the place, and she severely chastised Krishna and Balaram. And there is a beautiful description that comes in Krishna book where Srila Prabhupada writes that she scolded Krishna and Balaram, saying, "Do you think you are, orchids that those who are without any guardians or parent, those who are on their own on the street, that you are playing with your friends without any sense of timings, etc. At home, your father is waiting for you and he has not had his lunch because you are not at home. So immediately come home, come what may." And Krishna and Balaram, Srila Prabhupada writes that shows Yashoda Mata in her parental affection is much more intimately connected even than Rohini. Or similarly, Yashoda is considered, her level of Vatsalya Rasa is considered higher than even Nanda Maharaj or even Devaki or Vasudev for that matter. So point is, such reproachment by the closely associated or closely connected devotees, intimately connected devotees, Lord Krishna relishes that reproachment and doesn't feel upset or offended. Similarly, in the case of gopis, we do see when Krishna went to Mathura and apparently did not fulfill his promise of coming back, the gopis, they remember Krishna 24/7. And sometimes in their remembrances, sometimes they are crying, sometimes they are discussing within themselves pastimes of Lord Krishna, and sometimes they also, while discussing within themselves about Lord Krishna, they condemn Lord Krishna, that what kind of Lord he is, that we surrendered our everything to him, and probably he would have got new friends within the Mathura city. It is not a small village or a hamlet like Vrindavan. It is a big, beautiful city, and definitely he must have been enamored by the city girls who are much more, nicely, basically with a higher standard of how they care for themselves and how they live and present themselves. Probably Krishna got enamored and attracted by those city girls, and as a result, he has forgotten us simple damsels of Rajabhumi who just do household activities and take care of the cows and everything. So he doesn't need us anymore. So sometimes they apparently looking, they condemn Lord Krishna or criticize Lord Krishna as part of their discussions. But with each of these descriptions of Lord Krishna, their love for the Lord, it grows manifold times, and they are not able to resist thinking about the Lord and discussing about him. So Srimad Bhagavatam clearly mentions that Krishna relishes these friendly talks or even sometimes friendly banters or pulling of the legs or even reproachments or scoldings by such intimate devotees much more than the praises that are there in the Vedic literatures. That doesn't mean that we take Krishna's position lightly and in an immature state of devotional service consider ourselves also on a higher platform than what we are and try to be very casual with Lord Krishna, because Srila Prabhupada explains that is the mood of Sahajiyas. Sahajiyas, they consider themselves on a very highest platform of devotional service and then dress themselves like gopis, etc., and then try to be very casual about Krishna's position, as if they are on that level, that try to search Krishna in bushes and try to dress themselves like gopis, considering themselves as Lama, etc. So that type of mentality is not very conducive for progress in devotional service. But we can definitely appreciate Krishna's reciprocation with his loving devotees. Any questions, Prabhujis, Matajis, on this point? All right, so we can proceed. Text 20th. सोहम रूपेंद्र रहिता पुरुषोत्तमेन
सोऽहं
हम
नृपेन्द्ररहितः
पुरुषोत्तमेन
पुरुषोत्तमेन
सख्या प्रियेण सुहृद हृदयेन शून्यः
सख्या
प्रियेण सुहृदां
प्रियेण शून्यः
अध्वानि उरुक्रम परिग्रहम् अङ्गरक्षन्
अध्वनि
परिग्रहम् अङ्गरक्षन्
गोपैरसद्भिरबलेव विनिर्जितोऽस्मि
गोपेरसद्भिर्बलेव विनिर्जितोऽस्मि
अस्मि
मधुमय कृष्णकांता माताजी. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Emperor, now I am separated from my friend and dearmost well-wisher, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore my heart appears to be void of everything. In his absence, I have been defeated by a number of infidel cowherd men while I was guarding the bodies of all the wives of Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we go to the purport, so here Arjuna, for the first time in his conversation with his elder brother Yudhishthir Maharaj, after describing about so many favors and showing his gratitude for so many favors meted out to Pandavas by the Supreme Lord, and remembering all the different empowerments that were specifically endowed upon Arjuna by Lord Krishna. Now Arjuna is first time admitting before Yudhishthir Maharaj that, my dear brother Yudhishthir, now I am separated from that close friend and intimate friend and the dearmost well-wisher, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, and therefore his heart is void of everything. And specifically, Arjuna is admitting in front of Yudhishthir Maharaj that how he was the same Arjuna who was endowed with so much of strength and chivalry by the Supreme Lord. He has been defeated by ordinary infidel coward men while he was bringing back the widows of Lord Krishna, the queens of Dwaraka, back from Dwaraka to Hastinapur. He was defeated by simple coward men. He could not protect the wives of Lord Krishna. So in this regard, there is a beautiful story that is narrated by Srila Prabhupada in the purport to understand in a proper mood this particular pastime. So first of all, one thing Srila Prabhupada clarifies, that the better half of the Lord, the consort of the Lord, it cannot be touched by any person apart from the Supreme Lord. Like we see even in the case of Mother Sita being abducted by Ravana, the scriptures mention that it was the Maya Sita, when Sita Devi crossed over the fire, over the Lakshman Rekha, in order to give alms to Ravana, who came in the form of a mendicant. And when Ravana touched Sita, it is explained in the scriptures how Sita Devi, she gave her body to the Agni, to the fire god, and Maya Sita was the one which which Ravana could touch and abduct. So similarly, it is not possible for any personality other than the Supreme Lord himself to touch Lord's consorts. So how do we understand this particular pastime? Srila Prabhupada explains that one time the denizens of the heavenly planets, the beautiful women on the heavenly planets, they through their service pleased the great Muni, Ashtavakra Muni, and by pleasing Ashtavakra Muni through their service, Ashtavakra Muni bestowed them with the benediction of being born as the queens of the Supreme Lord, or to have Supreme Lord as their husband in subsequent life. And these all denizens of heaven, they were very, very happy and pleased. But when Ashtavakra Muni, as the name suggests, his body is curved at 8 different places. So when he walks, it is like the whole body moving in a form of a wave, and they found it very funny and they could not check their laughter. And because of that, Ashtavakra Muni, who had just blessed them to be consorts of the Supreme Lord, he got very upset, and then he cursed them by saying that while you will be born as the consorts of the Supreme Lord, you would be robbed by rogue elements in the society. And the denizens, those women were very, very sorry, and they begged forgiveness and prayed to Ashtavakra Muni for forgiveness. And then subsequently the Muni granted them a benediction, saying that basically, although they will be robbed by the rogues, that rogues won't be any external outside rogue elements. So it is explained how Krishna himself, in order to honor the word of this great sage Ashtavakra Muni, himself took the form of the coward men, and in turn abducted all those queens of Dwaraka. Otherwise, it was not possible for any other ordinary personality to touch Lord's consorts. And it is also mentioned that within the Yadu family, we had different types of personalities. We had few devotees who are Nitya Siddhas. Nitya Siddhas means they are the eternal associates of the Lord in the spiritual world. And we also have few devotees who came to this earth in order to participate in the pastimes of Lord Krishna and taking birth in the as various members of the Yadu family or Yadu dynasty. And some of these personalities, like we discussed for the denizens of heavenly planets, they also came from those heavenly planets, and after playing their part in Krishna's pastimes, they also returned back to their respective positions in order to continue their service. So here it is mentioned, besides that, so in order to keep the words of the great Muni, the Lord himself kidnapped his wives from the protection of Arjun. Otherwise, they would have at once vanished from the scene as soon as they were touched by the rogues. Besides that, some of the gopis who prayed to become wives of the Lord returned to their respective positions after their desire was fulfilled. After the departure of Lord Krishna, he wanted all his entourage back to Godhead, and they were called back under different conditions only. So different associates of the Lord in Dwaraka, they concluded their pastimes on the earthly planet in different ways. And some of these queens, they were abducted by the coward men. Can we proceed, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Any questions anybody has? All right.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so
Dandavat.
much, Prabhuji. Happy to see
Thank
you here,
you.
Prabhuji.
Hare
So happy.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, I have just a little query. We were
Yes.
discussing today, actually, a few of us, that Prabhuji, when they completed the pastimes, when it ended, where did they went back? Whether they went to Goloka or to some other place, Prabhuji?
Good question. So because the members of the Yadu dynasty, as I mentioned, they consisted of various personalities, some who are eternal associates of the Lord in the spiritual world, and some who are residents of the heavenly planets, like the denizens, both male and female demigods. So the members or the residents of the heavenly planet, they were sent by Lord Krishna respectively to the heavenly planets to continue with their service, and the eternal associates of the Lord in the spiritual world, they were sent by the Lord back to the spiritual world. So it is also mentioned in Bhagavatam also. As we proceed with the chapter, this particular Moshala Leela, which is basically the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, that portion Srimad Bhagavatam does explain that some of the members did go to heavenly planets, because that is where they came from, and they needed to complete their part of the service before they would eventually be eligible to go back to Godhead. Is that all
Thank
right?
you, Prabhuji. Yes, yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much.
Hare Krishna,
Dandavat
Prabhuji.
pranam,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
ma'am.
Prabhuji. Sada
Yes.
pranams.
Dandas.
Prabhuji,
Prabhuji,
so
in the,
should we understand?
in consequence,
One by one.
Prabhuji, in consequence to this question, I just want to ask one question.
Mataji, just 1 second. There was one devotee asking. Let her finish. We'll cover all questions.
Yeah,
ma'am.
okay, Prabhuji.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji,
Can I-
so should we understand from this that the people who kidnapped the wives of the Lord were also the eternal associates of the Lord?
Those
right?
people who kidnapped the Lord, they were Lord Krishna's expansions only, nobody else. Here it is mentioned. So Krishna here means, in order to keep the words of the great Ashtavakra Muni, the Lord himself kidnapped his
Yeah.
word. So they were expansions of the Lord himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Hare,
you. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji,
Ha,
yeah, in continuation to these questions, Prabhuji, just want to ask that these were from the heavenly planets also, or all from the Vaikuntha only?
The
Or they
residents
were
of
from the other heavenly
there was a mixture, Mataji. So some of these queens were from the heavenly planets as well. And same about other members of the Yadu dynasty. So some of them were from the heavenly planets and some of them from Vaikuntha, some of them from Goloka, etc. Okay?
And they were from the demigods also?
Yeah. So heavenly planets means devatas, demigods.
Okay.
And same description
Thank you so much.
we can also find in the prayers by the devatas in the womb of, when Lord Krishna appeared in the womb of Mother Devaki, that Lord Krishna specifically orders specific devatas to take birth within the Yadu dynasty. In fact, even before that, when Lord Brahma goes to Shvetadvip to get an audience by the Lord, when the devatas are in distress because of being overpowered by the asuras, Lord Krishna promises through Lord Brahma to all the devatas. He reassures them that he would be soon appearing to deal with the demoniac personalities, but he asked them also to appear in different roles within the Yadu dynasty to assist in his pastimes. So we have multiple references for that. Is that all right?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, but when they served the Lord, then they were delivered after that then? Or
So,
they went
see,
back to their heavenly planets?
One thing, they went back to their heavenly planets, but one thing we know for sure from the scriptures, that whoever is engaged in the service of the Lord, it is only a matter of time that they would reach the ultimate destination. So we can safely presume that this particular cooperation of theirs in Lord's pastimes would help them in their eternal journey towards going back to Godhead. But specifically talking about this pastime of conclusion of the Lord Krishna's pastimes in this day of Lord Brahma, those who came from heavenly planets, they were sent by the Lord to their respective positions to continue and fulfill their service first. All right?
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu. There is a question in the chat, Prabhu.
Chat, okay, 1 second.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, just I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
in regard
Yes,
only.
Mataji. Yeah.
So those demigods from the heavenly planets, those who were the queens, they were actually in constant association with Lord Krishna and serving him. Was that not sufficient to go back to Goloka, Prabhuji?
One
Next,
thing is
please.
for sure that Lord Krishna, as the loving Father, he knows for sure what is the best time and condition for us to be ready when we should be back to Godhead. So definitely he is the best judge. In fact, Bhagavatam first canto mentions that his dealings with his devotees, not just devotees, but all the living entities in this material world, it is just like a chess player putting different pawns or putting different pieces on different boxes within the chessboard. So to an outside person, it may seem very abstract. That person is just picking up one particular pawn, putting at that particular place on the chessboard. But to those who are expert in chess, they can understand the logic and the reasoning, what could be the plan of this particular grandmaster. So similarly, Lord Krishna, Prabhupada mentioned, this is the analogy given in Bhagavatam, just like a chess player, he also knows in what position to put his devotees so that they become perfectly ready. So we can't judge that, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. So one question on the chat: why did Arjuna lose his extraordinary power after Krishna left? So this would come in the subsequent verses. We are definitely going to touch upon this in great detail. All right. So just wait for few verses. Kiruba Shankar Prabhuji.
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
I mean,
Yes.
even each one of us, even our destiny, he would be knowing, Prabhuji, when we have to get back there.
Who would be knowing?
Krishna Paramatma.
Yeah, definitely. So, and trust, we should have that trust that he is our most well-wisher, most intimately connected well-wisher. So Krishna is much more anxious to bring us back home, back to Godhead. We just need to be sincere in our attempts, in our endeavors. But definitely, and secondly, to us, it may seem, because to be honest, we have been associated with Maya so prolonged period of time. Definitely, we have got that fear, falling into the trap of Maya and forgetting Krishna. But once a person, a devotee, is completely protected by the Lord, Bhagavatam mentions that Narayana para sarve na kutashana bibhyati swarga apavarga narkeshu api tulyarth darshanam. Lord Shiva glorifies the position of devotees like Chitraketu Maharaj to Mother Parvati, that even when she cursed him to take up the body of Asura, he was not disturbed at all, and in fact very humble and submissive in admitting his mistake and submitting before Mother Parvati. So such devotees, Lord Shiva mentions, Swarga apavarga narakeshu api tulyartha darshanam, that for them, heaven or hell, what is most important is remembrance of Lord Krishna and serving Lord Krishna. That is most important. So definitely we should have that faith in whatever condition of life. As long as we are remembering Lord Krishna, rendering service to him, rest all will be taken care. We don't have to bother too much. Is that all right?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
We will proceed. Text 21. These are very important series of text, 21 to 23, 24. After these 3-4 texts, we will have a group discussion activity. Please try to repeat. Tadvai dhanushta ishava saratho hayaste. Soham rathi nrupatayo yata anamanti.
Soham
Ratipatayo
yata
anamanti.
Sarvakshane tat abhut asat ishariktam.
Sarvamshanena tad
Isharikam.
Basman hutam kuhakar radham ivoptam usham.
Basmam
Sureshwari Sudamai Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji. Pranams. Translation by Divine Rishi Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki Jai. I have the very same Gandiva bow, the same arrows, the same chariot, drawn by the same horses, and I use them as the same Arjuna to whom all the kings offered their due respects. But in the absence of Lord Krishna, all of them, at a moment's notice, have become null and void. It is exactly like offering clarified butter on ashes, accumulating money with a magic wand, or sowing seeds on barren land. Thank you,
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So Arjuna is intimately remembering Krishna's endowments on him, upon him, as Tadvai Dhanush, that I have the same Gandiva bow now, Ta Ishavaha, the same set of arrows, Saratho, same chariot, Hayaste, and the very same horses. Soham Rathi, and I am the same Maharathi, Arjuna, who was able to fight and defeat Maharathi, meaning hundreds and thousands of warriors on the opposite side. And not only that, Nrupatayo Yata Anamanti, that I am the same Arjuna with all these might. Nrupatayo, all the other kings, they used to come and offer their respects to me. And Sarvam kshanena tat abhut asat ishariktam. Kshanena means just in a moment, all that has become void and worthless and ineffective. Why? Bhasman, Bhasman hutam kuhaka radham ivoptam usham. That by the Lord's will, just in a moment, all this has become null and void. And he gives three different analogies to explain how all these assets that were so useful and so effective when Lord Krishna had his empowerment within them for Arjun, and how they have become useless and worthless now. He says it is just like offering clarified butter on ashes. So in the fire sacrifice, we see that we offer various oblations within the fire and then it carries significance. But if that fire is already out and there are just ashes, then whatever butter we offer on those ashes, it is not really considered as a oblation to the fire. Or he says it is just like accumulating money with a magic wand, that sometimes we see that as a children, we used to have those fake currency notes we used to use in our playful activities in the childhood. So sometimes a person out of a magic wand may create such false currency for children's play, but it carries no real value in the outside world. Or it is just like sowing seeds on a barren land, which doesn't cause a plant or a sapling to come up or to grow. So such sowing of the seeds, it goes in vain. Similarly, having all those assets, even now, in the form of a Gandiva bow, in the form of arrows, horses, or the chariots, or I being the same Maharathi as I was earlier, it carries no value and meaning now that Krishna has withdrawn his empowerment. So what is important in this particular section of verses from text 21 to 24 to understand is what is the mood of a devotee. It is just like, say, for example, a child may sometimes see the electrical fittings like the tube light or the bulbs, etc., within the home, but the child may not understand, but the mother understands that all these electrical instruments, they are able to reflect the light and provide the light in the darkness only when the powerhouse is providing the electricity. When the electricity is off due to some reason, due to some maintenance work, the electricity is withheld by the powerhouse, all these electrical instruments, having them in our home, they are the same instruments, but it is of no use. Why? Because the power connection is disconnected or power is off. Similarly, having all these assets in one's life, they are only useful to the level that Krishna provides that empowerment. There is a very beautiful statement that comes up. We are slightly behind in time, so I am reading the selected part of the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport here. He says, as we have discussed more than once, one should not be puffed up by borrowed plumes. All energies and powers are derived from the Supreme Source, Lord Krishna, and they act as long as he desires and cease to function as soon as he withdraws. That means a devotee is always in acknowledgement. He is always cognizant of the fact that if I am able to do any wonderful activity in my life, it is not due to my prowess, it is not due to my skills or abilities, it is only due to the empowerment given by the Lord, which is for a specific purpose. And the way he can give that empowerment, he is free to withdraw that empowerment anytime he likes. So devotee is neither too elated when he performs great feat, nor is he despondent when those skills or those empowerments are taken away by the Lord. He is always in acknowledgement. Even while rendering great services, he is grateful to Lord Krishna. Thank you for letting me be an instrument in your hands to fulfill your wish in this particular manner. And when by Krishna's own grace, if he is not successful for any ABC reason, he is not dejected, he is not despondent. He simply surrenders to the will of the Lord that probably Krishna does not want that particular achievement or happening in my life. He knows what is good for me. Like we see in the life of our founder Acharya, I often quote this example. This comes in Lilamrut. We see Srila Prabhupada, before taking sannyas, he was a householder, Abhay Charan Day, and he had a pharmacy business which was flourishing, Prayag Pharmacy. But we see, due to Krishna's inconceivable will, at a certain point in his family life, when the children had grown up and all, Krishna arranged in such a way that his business went into great losses through various means, that sometimes his employees, they cheated him and ran off with the company property. So because of ABC, various different reasons, not one time or two times, but six different, excuse me, 6 different times, Abhay Babu, he tried to revive his business, but it failed. And finally, Srila Prabhupada wrote in his diary, he remembered this famous verse from the 10th canto, Yasyaham anugrunnami harishetat dhanam shanay. Lord Krishna's instruction or advice to Yudhishthir Maharaj, that when he wants to really, when he wants to bless a devotee or a person, he may grant him his wish. But if he feels that he really needs to pull off the material attachment from a devotee who has got 98-99% perfected in his or her life, but just light bit of attachment needs to be removed, sometimes Krishna can take away things as well. But a devotee who is completely surrendered unto him has complete faith when Krishna is giving as well as when Krishna is withdrawing. So Srila Prabhupada, when he subsequently started International Society for Krishna Consciousness and was so successful in establishing ISKCON temples so many places around the world, Srila Prabhupada told his devotees, previously Krishna tested me by taking away everything, and now Krishna is testing me by giving me everything, but I need to pass both the tests. So this is the mood of a devotee, that he is always willing to follow what is Krishna's will and surrender to that will. So the devotee who asked the question on the chat, does it answer your question, Prabhuji, Mataji, Hare Krishna? Why Krishna takes away? Sometimes we should not be afraid. If we have trust and faith in Krishna's love towards us, we would never feel insecure. Just like a child never feels insecure. Say, for example, sometimes you would see father, when children are young, they throw them in the air and then again they catch, and the children enjoy, the father also enjoys. But does the child feel insecure or afraid that he would fall on the ground and get hurt? No, because the child has complete trust and faith that the father won't let me slip and fall on the ground. Similarly, a surrendered devotee should have that faith that Krishna has the best interest of us in his mind. We should trust his judgment. We should not question his discretion. Is that all right, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes,
Hare
yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Very
So,
clear.
Yes, Prabhuji.
we will proceed. Text 22-23. Rajams tvayanuprashtanam
Rajam
Rajam
surudam na surutpure
Suridam naha sure
viprashapa vimudhana
Shapa Vimudana
nignatam mushtibhir mitah
Nirmitha
varunim madiram pitva
Varunim Madiram
madonmatita chetasam
Matita
ajanatam ivan yonyam
Ivan Yoyam
चतुः पञ्चवशेषितः
चतुःपञ्चवशेषितः
Hare Krishna, Shubhamai Harini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Oh Krishna, since you have asked me about our friends and relatives in the city of Dwarka, I will inform you that all of them were cursed by the Brahmanas. And as a result, they all become intoxicated with wine made of putrefied rice and fought among themselves with sticks, not even recognizing one another. Now all but 4 or 5 of them are dead and gone.
Thank you, Mataji. So here Arjuna is briefly describing the Moshala Leela, which is about the annihilation of the Yadu dynasty to Yudhishthir Maharaj. And here again comes the specific point that Acharyas like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explain why did Krishna arrange Moshala Leela. So this is described in great detail that one reason was that apparent reason the Yadavas were very, very powerful, and Krishna did not want them to go without being guarded properly and misuse that power for any wrong activity as such. That was one reason. Second reason is that before he leaves this particular, before he concludes his pastimes on this earth, he wanted the Yadu dynasty and the Leelas of the Yadavas to also be concluded, and thus he arranged for the Yadavas to be intoxicated and disrespect the Brahmanas, where Samba was made to be shown as a pregnant woman carrying a child, and they asked the Brahmanas that we hear that you are very learned personalities. Can you tell us what this woman would beget, either a son or a daughter? And the Brahmanas knew exactly the puffed up and intoxicated position of the Yadavas, and they cursed the Yadava, saying that whatever this woman is carrying in her womb, the same will be the cause of the destruction of the entire Yadava dynasty. And there was a lump of iron that Samba was, the iron was hidden as a child within the womb of a mother to show Samba as a pregnant woman. And that same piece of iron, subsequently, it was cut into various small pieces and thrown into the ocean water. It got washed on to the ocean shore, and it grew in the form of a very sharp grasses, which were used as weapons by the Yadavas in their intoxicated state to subsequently finish and destroy themselves. Except for 4 or 5 members, everybody else was finished in that particular fratricidal war. And one of the reasons was also that those personalities who came from different places, including the Devatas from the heavenly planets, etc., Krishna wanted them to return to their place of service, continue their service, and subsequently perfect their lives. To arrange all this, this Moshala Leela was arranged by the will of Lord Krishna. One second. Yeah, we will recite this verse.
Prabhuji, why did they, sorry to interrupt, Prabhuji,
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, why did they leave these 4 or 5 people just to inform about Lord's Leela?
No, Krishna knows the best. So some of them we see Uddhava, Krishna assigned a very specific service to him.
Yes.
And so there were few personalities who Krishna wanted them to stay back and probably leave later like that. Okay, only Krishna would know. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Text 24. Praenaitat bhagavata Ishwarasya vicheshtitam Mito nignanti bhutani Bhavayanti cha yanmitaha. One second. Yes. So here, let's go through the translation first. Prana Nandini Madhavi Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam Prabhuji.
Dhanwad.
Translation by His Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Factually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord, the personality of Godhead. Sometimes people kill one another, and at other times they protect one another. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So here Arjuna is acknowledging to Yudhishthir Maharaj how all this Moshal Leela, the destruction of the Yadu dynasty, happened also by the supreme will of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada explains in regard to this particular point in his classes that Krishna, based on the different desires of the different rebellious living entities, he arranges for them to appear in this material world and carry different mentalities, different powers, etc. So we see sometimes there is a disparity or inequality in terms of strength or in terms of position of privilege, leverage, etc. And some people, they try to overpower or dominate others, and we see that those who are being dominated, sometimes they also turn rebellious and they want to resist and fight and regain power. So this type of duel is always going on in this world. But what is the root cause of this fight and inequality and disparity? The root cause is the rebellious mentality of the living entities wanting to enjoy separately from the Lord. And Lord Krishna is simply facilitating their bodies in the form of fulfilling their desires in this material world. So Krishna arranges these living entities to take birth with different capacities, different mentalities, and then because of their rebellious attitude towards the Supreme Lord, these type of living entities sometimes fight within themselves in order to overpower each other, and more importantly, in order to lord it over the material nature, to try to play the role of proprietor and controller and enjoyer, which we are not. And in turn, they become very inimical or very hostile towards each other. So Arjuna is saying that sometimes such people, they kill one another, and at other times they protect one another. So there is a word in the verse, Mitho nignanti bhutani. Nignanti means they become very hostile towards one another, kill one another. And bhavayanti, that means sometimes they are very affectionate and protective towards one another. But both, either attachment or aversion, either attachment on the level of material relationships or enmity on the basis of material enmity, both are illusory according to Srimad Bhagavatam, unless it is based on the true spiritual sense that all of us, we are the eternal children and servant of Lord Krishna. Until that time, as long as we are considering a other person as a friend or enemy, both is illusory. And we also see this in the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, who mentions to his classmates that this concept of he is my friend, he is my enemy, is a work of Maya. As long as we don't recognize the other person as the part and parcel of Lord Krishna, whatever we may consider other person, either as a friend or enemy, both are illusory identities. Is that all right, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So I think some of the verses recitation we'll have to skip. Sarita Mataji, you can directly read through the translation. O King.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Sada Pranams, Prabhuji.
Dhanwad. Yeah.
Translation. O King, as in the ocean the bigger and stronger aquatics swallow up the smaller and weaker ones, so also the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to lighten the burden of the earth, has engaged the strongest Yadu to kill the weaker and the bigger Yadu to kill the smaller. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, man. So same point, the disparity in terms of power, leverage, etc., is the reason why the so-called fights take place. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the beautifully in the purport how in the material world the struggle for existence and survival of the fittest are laws, because in the material world there is a disparity between the conditioned souls due to everyone's desire to lord it over the material resources. So whatever hostilities, whatever inimical thoughts, whatever averseness or towards each other in the material world, it exists. It only exists because each one wants to dominate over the other, and while wanting to dominate over the other, ultimate wish or desire is to lord it over the material nature and try to control and enjoy. So because we are trying to take Krishna's position in a indirect manner by trying to lord it over other resources, that reflects in the form of hostilities in this material world. So Arjuna is saying how, as a result, the stronger Yadus Krishna caused to kill the weaker, and so on and so forth. So one question, Prabhujis and Matajis, which I had also put in the slide, and maybe we should devote 1 or 2 minutes for it. What lessons we can learn from all these reflections and realizations by Arjuna from text 21 to 25, 26. Maybe you can just structure your thoughts and then raise hands. So devotees can lower their hands who have raised for reading the translation, and I would request again afterwards to raise your hand. But for now, consider what lessons we can draw from the Arjuna's recollection of the favors and his realizations, especially from this text 21 to 25.
Prabhuji, it's mentioned 7 to 17, no?
Ignore that, Mataji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. So you can read through the translations or any highlighted parts of the purport. So these devotees who have already raised their hands, you are already ready with your thoughts? Pushpa Yashomati Mataji, Shanti Sudesh Mataji.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So just give a minute for other devotees, then we request 2 or 3 devotees, and then we proceed. So we'll request devotees who have not spoken at all to... Yes, Shanti Mataji, Hare Krishna. You want to unmute?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, without involving Lord Krishna in our activities, there is no meaning to our lives, Prabhuji. It is like a dead civilization. Whatever progress we make materially, it makes no sense, Prabhuji. It has no meaning.
Yeah. And we have to in turn acknowledge Krishna's presence and empowerment in anything we are able to do. Any simple activities and all our abilities are ultimately given by Lord Krishna. Prabhupada mentioned we should not be proud of borrowed plumes. That means if something good we are able to do, that is only because of Krishna's empowerment. Right? And similarly, it means that for any reason, even after trying so many attempts, if we are not able to replicate that, we should also be cheerful enough to acknowledge that it is Krishna's will by which he made it happen. It is Krishna's will. Despite my best efforts, I am still not able to achieve something. Can we think of any example on this point? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, anyone from Srila Prabhupada's books
Prabhuji.
or writings? Yeah. Yes.
His life, Prabhuji. His business failed.
That
his
is
business
correct.
failed.
Yes. His business
Then there
failed.
was a theft, there was a fire.
Correct. And we see a personality like Srila Prabhupada. Imagine Srila Prabhupada, first of all, established, before going to US, he established the League of Devotees in Jhansi, and he struggled there for not 1 or 2, 3 full years trying to give Krishna consciousness to people. But by the will of Lord Krishna, the response was not very positive. In fact, through all these 3 years of struggle, Srila Prabhupada was able to initiate one particular person. He was given the name Purushottam, but even that person subsequently he couldn't help Srila Prabhupada much in his further attempts to establish Krishna consciousness movement. And so that was Krishna's very special will, because if Srila Prabhupada would have succeeded in Jhansi, probably we would not have had International Society for Krishna Consciousness being established in New York and become a worldwide movement. So such devotees, they never ever get discouraged because of any reversals in their life, or yeah, that one particular thing Mataji already mentioned. Also, when Srila Prabhupada was distributing Back to Godhead magazines in the streets of Delhi under the hot sun, Leelamrut mentions how Srila Prabhupada, he fainted sometimes in the under the hot sun distributing BTG magazine. And one place, on one tea shop, when Srila Prabhupada was distributing the BTG magazine, one person told him that, Swamiji, you are taking such hard labor to try to distribute these few pieces of paper as a magazine, but who would value it as much? Because after you go, people might casually throw it here and there. But if you write books, the books would stay for longer and will benefit people in a better manner. And what was Srila Prabhupada's reaction? He didn't say that, oh, you are simply sipping tea and you are instructing me what I should do, what I should not do. Srila Prabhupada thought that it is not you who is instructing me this way, it is my spiritual master through you who is giving this guidance to me. So Srila Prabhupada took it as message from his spiritual master that instead of just publishing magazine, he should try to write Krishna conscious philosophy in the form of books. And then Srila Prabhupada took publishing of the books very seriously. So point is, such a surrendered soul, whether there is any favor or whether there is any adversity or whether there is any challenge, he sees Krishna's hand in each and everything. Is that all right, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So what I suggest, those who have
Hare
questions,
Krishna. Prabhuji.
if we can
Yes.
keep the questions for the end, because I am a bit worried we might fall short of time otherwise, Mataji. Can we take the question at the end? Is that all right? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
You can otherwise put it on the chat if you feel you will forget. Okay. So we proceed. Text 27. Pushpa Yashomati Mataji, you can read the translation. All right. Shashi Kumar Prabhu, you can unmute, you can read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Can I read, Prabhuji?
Mataji,
Krishna,
I'll
Prabhu.
ask you next one. Pushpa Mataji.
Okay, I will.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now I am attracted to those instructions imparted to me by the personality of Godhead, Govinda, because they are impregnated with instructions for relieving the burning heart in all circumstances of time and space. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So here a very important difference between a materialistic person getting bogged down by the adversities in his life and a great devotee of the Lord facing greatest of the crisis in his life, we can see here. A materialist, whenever he or she, they get bogged down by the adversities, by some unpleasant happenings in their life, what do? They would try to take shelter in Maya by taking shelter in intoxication, by taking shelter in wrong association, or sometimes if they don't see any way out of it, they can even try to self-harm or commit suicide, etc. But what is the consciousness of a devotee? When he is elated, he is in acknowledgement of the empowerment given by the God. Even when he is in crisis, we can see from the life of Arjuna that he is remembering the Lord by remembering his instruction, taking shelter of the Lord in the form of instructions given in Bhagavad Gita. So what Krishna spoke to Arjuna when he was personally present, when there were crises in Arjuna's life, Arjuna is taking shelter of those same instructions of the Lord when Krishna is not physically present in front of him. So we proceed. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, the problem which arose in the heart of Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra was solved by the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. Again, after the departure of the Lord from the vision of earthly people, when Arjuna was face to face with being vanquished in his acquired power and prominence, he wanted again to remember the great teachings of Bhagavad Gita, just to teach all concerned that Bhagavad Gita can be consulted in all critical times, not only for solace from all the mental agonies, but also for the way out of great entanglements, which may embarrass one in some critical hour. So Bhagavad Gita is not just important when everything is fine. Bhagavad Gita is also equally and all the more important even when things are not fine. And Arjuna shows that a person remembering the instructions in Bhagavad Gita is as good receiving the help as good when Lord Krishna is personally present. So remembering the instructions from Bhagavad Gita is very, very important. Arjuna is showing through his example. And one more similarity we can see that on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was in great despondency, seeing his near and dear ones in front of him. And he had Krishna, fortunately, and he did take guidance. But now, even without Krishna being present, he is accessing the same set of instructions. So the purport is a bit long. I request all the devotees to go through the purport at your leisure. Pushpa Yashomati Mataji, please unmute. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. Sudha Goswami said that being deeply absorbed in thinking of the instructions of the Lord, which were imparted in the great intimacy of friendship and in thinking of his lotus feet, Arjuna's mind became pacified and free from all material contamination. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So here in the verse, though we are not able to recite because of time constraint, but the word that is used, Shantasit Vimala Matihi, and Srila Prabhupada translates it as material contamination. But at the same time, we know that Arjuna is not an ordinary personality. So can there really be material contamination? Especially when Arjuna has heard Bhagavad Gita and followed Krishna's instructions, surrendered himself completely unto Krishna. It is not possible for great devotee like Arjuna to have any contamination within his heart. So what does Vimala Mati in true sense here means? Vimala Mati means the unsteadiness of mind and intelligence that Arjuna had in terms of not knowing what to do next. But that mind became completely pacified and steady, and Arjuna, Yudhishthir Maharaj and all the Pandavas, they became very clear in terms of the next set of activities they should take up in terms of relinquishing this material world, retiring, handing over the kingdom to Maharaj Parikshit, as we will see in the next chapter. So that unsteady mind which caused Arjuna confusion in terms of what should be done next, that unsteadiness and confusion, it went away when Arjuna remembered those same instructions that were imparted on the Kurukshetra battlefield. Hare Krishna. Arjuna's constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna rapidly increased his devotion, and as a result, all the trash in his thoughts subsided. So here also trash doesn't exactly mean the anarthas or material contaminations or the shad vapus, the six enemies, lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion that we have in our heart, but it means the unsteadiness of mind or confusion in terms of what to be done, what is to be done next. Dipti Mati Kalindi Mataji, Hare Krishna, you can read through the translations. So you can
Yes,
read
Prabhuji.
through two,
Hare
three
Krishna
verses.
Prabhuji. Dandavata.
Dandas.
Yes, Prabhuji. Verse 30. Because of the Lord's translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Because of the Lord's pastimes and activities, and because of his absence, it appeared that Arjuna forgot the instructions left by the personality of Godhead. But factually, this was not the case, and again he became lord of his senses.
Yeah. So what was the effect of Arjuna remembering all those instructions of Bhagavad Gita again at this point of crisis where Krishna was not physically present in front of him, that he again became the lord of his senses. So even in the Bhagavad Gita, we see in the second chapter beginning, Arjuna crying and not able to leave even his Gandiva bow. He kept it down and completely was clueless what should be done. But with Krishna's instruction, he again became enlightened, and became ready to follow Krishna's wish and fight the battle of Kurukshetra. So similarly here, again by remembrance of those instructions, he was able to regain the control, lordship over his senses. And again, he became the lord of his senses. And this is a beautiful, beautiful purport. I think we have to go a bit fast. Audarya Gauranga Prabhu, Hare Krishna. You can read through the translations. Continue for 2-3 verses.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Translated by His Divine Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Because of his possessing spiritual assets, the doubts of duality were completely cut off. Thus, he was freed from the three modes of material nature and placed in transcendence. There was no longer any chance of his becoming entangled in birth and death, for he was freed from material form. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Thank you. Please continue, Prabhu.
Upon hearing of Lord Krishna's returning to his abode, and upon understanding the end of the Yadu dynasty, earthly manifestation, Maharaja Yudhishthira decided to go back home, back to Godhead.
Yes, Kunti.
Kunti, after overhearing Arjuna's telling of the end of the Yadu dynasty and disappearance of Lord Krishna, engaged in the devotional service of the transcendental personality of Godhead with full attention, and thus gained release from the course of material existence.
Oops. Yes. The Supreme Unborn.
The Supreme Unborn Lord Sri Krishna caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and thus he relieved the burden of the world. The action was like picking out a thorn with a thorn. Thou both are the same to the controller.
Thank you. Thank you. So before this particular verse, we see that by Arjuna remembering the instructions spoken by Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he himself became clear in terms of what is to be done next. Yudhishthir Maharaj became clear, and the entire Pandavas family. It is not that they decided together that let's leave home and start towards the north. Bhagavatam explains, Yudhishthir Maharaj started, and all the brothers, they followed his path, and subsequently their mother, Queen Kunti, and their wife Draupadi, they also followed the Pandavas towards the north, and different members of the Pandavas family, they left their body at different places on the way towards, basically that place is known where they started their journey. But beyond that, because they are the pure devotees of the Lord, it is not that all the places, even on this earthly planet, are accessible to us. There are places like, there is a mention of Madhvacharya visiting Srila Vyasadev. That pastime comes in his life, and his disciples were trying to follow, but after some time when he crossed ahead, they were unable to follow any further beyond a certain threshold. So point is, these Pandava brothers, followed by their mother as well as wife, they did go back home, back to Godhead by giving up their body on their journey towards the north. But that inspiration to relinquish this material world, hand over the kingdom to their successor in the form of Maharaj Parikshit, all this clarity of thought was gained only by remembering the instructions of Lord Krishna. So despondency of a devotee in the face of crisis is always to turn towards the Lord and get guidance from the Lord to have clarity in his or her thoughts and not become overwhelmed by lamentation. So I think we come to the last verse, text 15. Shanti Sudesh Mataji, you can read through.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes.
The Supreme Lord relinquished the body which he manifested to diminish the burden of the earth. Just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnation and others.
Thank you. Thank you, Manoj. So the Lord, it is explained that even now in some part of the universe or other, that means there are so many innumerable Brahmandas, universes within this cosmic manifestations. In one universe or others, Lord's pastimes are taking place constantly. That's why they are called as Nitya Leelas. So when he decides to conclude his pastimes on one particular planet in one particular universe, he immediately has subsequent incarnations to come over here for the deliverance of people in general, as well as take up his next birth in any other Brahmanda or universe, in other planet, in another day of Lord Brahma in that particular Brahmanda. So just like a magician, he relinquishes one body to accept different ones, like the fish incarnations and others. So Krishna also relinquishes one particular transcendental body to take up the next one at different places. And it is explained, like I have mentioned this few times even in the Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vaibhav courses, that not only are Krishna's activities, Nitya Leelas going on in different universes, but the pure devotees, they have access to witness those activities or even witness the discussions on those activities, like in the Narad Muni's pastimes, when he received transcendental body, it is mentioned that he is able to access those discussions about the pastimes of the Lord anywhere they are happening in any part of the cosmic manifestation, or he is able to access the Lord's pastimes that are happening in any different universes within this cosmic manifestation. So not only the Supreme Lord, but even his pure devotees, based on the empowerment given by the Lord, have this special ability to access Krishna's pastimes and Krishna Katha. So my apologies, Prabhuji, last few verses were squeezed out a bit due to time constraint. But what I also wanted to share, that two things which were had to skip or not cover to that much in detail. One is the purports. I request all of you to please not skip any of these purport. They are very, very important. Plus some of the practical applications, the supporting verses. Say, for example, how a devotee should survive and thrive through the crisis in his or her life. There are few wonderful verses that are very important. So try to go through those as well, which I have put it on the slide. So now probably we can give 1 or 2 minutes, and this is completely optional for devotees. We have concluded the discussion, but if there are any devotees who have any questions, then we can take those.
Prabhuji, the devotees who can see the pastimes, leelas happening in the other planets, they should be highly exalted, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah, so correct. They should be highly exalted. Plus, it is not something which one can demand. It is the special empowerment given by the Lord. Like for somebody like Narada Muni, for example, he has access to Lord's pastimes anywhere.
So automatically they can come to know, no? Automatically they'll come to know?
Basically, if they wish to access any particular pastime, like for example, in Krishna book, there is a description of Narada Muni visiting Dwarka Nagari to visit Lord Krishna, and he visited different palaces of Lord Krishna, but Lord Krishna interacts with him as if he's meeting for the first time on that particular day in each palace. So, because he wanted to see how Lord Krishna is leading a life as an exemplary householder. So Krishna fulfilled that wish like that. When they want, when they desire.
Devotee has to request for that empowerment.
They have to desire, and of course,
desire for it.
their exemplary stature also should be there on devotional platform.
They have to desire and deserve both of them.
Both, correct. But that is one thing that may be very exempt, but even otherwise, as I mentioned, even just like Lord's activities, even discussions about Lord's activities, including Srimad Bhagavatam discussions, are constantly happening at any given point in time in different universes across the cosmic manifestation. And a pure devotee on that platform, they also have access to those glorifications of the Lord.
The same Bhagavatam, our same Bhagavatam, no?
Same, but much more expanded form. Our Bhagavatam is that way quite compressed, just 18,000 verses. But there are higher planetary systems where Bhagavatam is much more expansive. Our Bhagavatam has summary of Krishna's pastimes in just this day of Lord Brahma. But there have been so many activities which are not in the purview of ours because our ability to remember, read, understand is very limited. But there are much expansive Bhagavatam also, Mataji.
But that we can't come to know, Prabhuji, where what is happening we will not know.
Yeah, but even if we know this one, we can still perfect our life for sure.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Are there any questions on the chat? Okay, this one we answered. Couldn't the demigods get sufficiently purified? This we answered. Here's, please display the question. Prabhuji, are we going to receive? Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
There are other one. We addressed all the questions, I think.
Okay. So apologies for running through some of the verses. Otherwise, this is one of the very intimate and very important part of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I also heard from my spiritual master in one of the classes on this particular portion of Bhagavatam. He mentioned that how when Srila Prabhupada left his body from this earthly planet, the devotees, as you can see, many of them, they were still very young in their Krishna point, because Srila Prabhupada was on the earthly planet after starting the movement hardly for around 13 years. And even within those 13 years, many of the devotees had come into the movement halfway through the mark, like after 70s, like 70, 71, 72, like that. So they had, many of them were clueless how they will survive in their Krishna consciousness. And my spiritual master was saying in that class that they did take shelter of this particular contemplation by Arjuna, and how he regrouped and how he collected himself by remembering Krishna's instruction, and again became composed and became the Lord of his master and could continue his service towards the Lord. So devotees also took shelter of this particular portion of Srimad Bhagavatam in order to come over this lamentation in separation from Srila Prabhupada, because they were still very young. So point is, this type of instructions given in the scriptures, they are not just helpful in the normal day-to-day time of our life, but even when we don't have any other beacon of life to look up to or to take guidance from, this particular instructions of Bhagavatam can come as a great relief. So if a person like Arjuna can get over his grief and lamentation without any other source, we can also take help of these Bhagavatam chapters and derive solace from them. Is that all right, Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji is so
Yes,
beautiful,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Very
Prabhu.
nice, so beautiful.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you
So
very
Thank
much.
you so much, Prabhuji.
this
Hare Krishna.
particular,
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the
Hare
beautiful
Krishna.
class.
Hare
Pranam,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Mohandas Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhu.
this slide deck, you can share with them. You have the access to the slides. You can share with.
Okay,
If-
Prabhu, I'll try to get it. Yeah, I'll try to get it. Yeah,
If you have my number, so if you
Yes.
get stuck, let me know.
Sure,
Okay.
Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare
Thanks.
Krishna, Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Can
Prabhuji.
stop the
Thank you.
YouTube,
Vacha,
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanyavad,
Vacha
Prabhuji.
kalpatarubhyascha kripa
कृपा
sindhu
सिन्धुभ्य
vacha
एव च पतितानां
patitanam pavanebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो
vaishnavebhyo